Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe Podcast. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast that brings you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 242. We're recording this on a Wednesday, October 4th, 2023. The Packers lose at home against the Detroit Lions on Thursday Night Football. They have retreated and they're licking their wounds as they prepare for an away matchup against the Raiders on Monday Night Football. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me tonight in studio is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? It seems like that Lions game was like about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Usually we do a first take. Can't say that game stayed on the entire 4 quarters.
What?
In my household. Had to get up and go to work the next day, so I thought, I'll do myself a little favor.
Wow.
And hit the hay.
True believer.
Like
here,
Joe
man.
Barry's run defense did after, the first few plays of said
Took a nap.
football game. But then again, it's been pretty sleepy for a long time.
Oh, so that's who Sleepy Joe is this whole time.
Yes.
Sleepy Joe Barry.
Sleepy Joe Barry.
Wow. Yeah.
His run defense does play like it's asleep at the wheel. Day.
Well, he's up in the booth now. We there's no eyes on him all the time. He's probably. Whoa! It's third down. Oh crap! Rush! Just rush. Oh wait!
We got him in a third down again. Oh, but we'll let him convert it. Make him feel good about themselves. That was kind of a theme last almost a week ago Thursday night. Packers couldn't get off the field. Offense was atrocious.
Yeah.
AJ Dillon not so good, but also Packers. Offensive line as a run stopping unit, Tay, or a run blocking unit. Woo! They're hot garbage.
Well, even in their passing protection, Ren,
they gave up 21 pressures in that game, Tay. Jordan Love, lucky he is all in one piece after that one because it was brutal. And the theme, did you hear the theme the last week after that game? About your Green Bay Packers? What's the theme, Tay?
The theme? No, I didn't hear any theme. I guess it's just we're gonna work harder. We're gonna shore up the problems. We're gonna do some good next game. We got this. We're gonna work harder. Wait, what is the official?
Well, you had
on the streets,
your boy MLF. Pulling
MLF.
out the good old Ren did a couple weeks ago, the definition of insanity.
Oh yeah, just repeating and trying to expect different results.
Yeah, can't keep doing the same things. He seemed a little salty after the game, but amongst the local national Packer talk brethren, you and I are part of that brethren.
Oh yeah, I'm involved.
Are the Packers soft? They are a soft football team today. They are coached like they're soft from a head coaching standpoint.
Shots fired.
Matt LaFleur in comparison to Mr. Dan Campbell.
Duck.
They are not a physical team when it comes to offensive line. They're a finesse offensive line. They can pass block. They can't. There's no road grader that can run block.
Get out the light, man. Ren's burning them.
They are soft. Another one of the themes amongst many people are there are no assholes on that football team.
Whoa.
There's not a guy who's going to come up and just go lunch pail it a la, I don't know, half that roster on the Detroit Lions, front lines, defense or offense, doesn't matter. I think somebody pointed out there was one play where the Packers defense, when they went to go at the Lions, didn't move a single Lion backwards. So, Tay, you watched that football game. I'm assuming you watched the whole thing because you are a glutton for punishment. Would you say, when you looked at a physical football team versus a not physical football team, would you say the shoe fits?
I don't know. I guess I'll come back to that in a second.
That is Matt LaFleur, you're soft. Tay, don't LaFleur soft it here. Answer the question, Dan Campbell style. Take it and run with it. Don't be afraid. Don't shirk behind the question.
Well, of course, you always want that passion and that drive and that, that toughness. And I guess I subscribe to the fact and the sentiment that you can have a tough physical team, but be nice. Like, that's not like the issue here. But Dan Campbell, this isn't his first year. He's been there for a few years, and he's starting to get better with that team. So, and I guess you could say the same with Matt LaFleur. He's been there for a while. Is this what's going to take place from now on? Whether you have to be tough and an asshole to win football games, no, that's false. You don't have to be. So is that a prerequisite and a requirement for the Packers to be, have that temperament to win football games? No, I don't think so. Now, I would agree with you that helps, but you don't need that. You don't have to have that. Now, the question is, MLF, our buddy MLF, is he soft? Yeah, I think he's a little bit soft. I don't think he goes into the locker room and fires people up in a natural leadership sort of way. He's a guy that can call an offensive game. He can, have the group together. He's the head coach. He can, delegate. He can scheme. He can do all this stuff.
He can cry after that performance against the Bears, whatever it is,
So
when was it the Saints? I don't know.
I think it was the Falcons.
I think it's the Saints.
No, Falcons. Whatever.
He cried about the comeback.
I don't know. I don't, the jury, I think for us again now after a loss like that is like the jury's out on Matt LaFleur. It's like, well, what's going on? So I feel like there's a lot of open wounds on this Packers team right now after watching that game, and you can point fingers, you can try to select different things on that team that are an issue, but I guess it remains MLF's job to fix everything, and it's his responsibility to take the defensive coordinator and do something about that, or fix the situation, or quit being insane, about it, right? And you look down in Chicagoland, and that's a dumpster fire, and they're talking about changes and stuff like that after 4 losses.
Well, but
and so it's like
the silver lining for them Bears, Tay, is they're gonna have the first and second pick in the draft. They can finally turn this thing around, even though they're gonna have to just suck ass the rest of the year. If I was a Bears fan, that's what I'd want.
You just be like, no, it's too late, and we're not going to get much better than 0-4 here. I think actually it's probably the percentages in our favor. I guess I don't know what happened. I don't know why all of a sudden it happened to the Packers on that Thursday night. Were we not prepared for the short week? Like, are the Lions just a better opponent? Too many injured players? Like, I think those are all probably yeses. But the offense looked off. They look unprepared. They failed in execution. The defense couldn't stop the Detroit offense at all. And then all of a sudden it's halftime, and you turn around and it's 27-3, and you've got like 5 yards of offense. And you're like, how does this happen? So you're just scratching yourself going, okay, can we please either end this or show any sort of signs of life, right? Like you got to like get something positive out of that. And the second half, sure. But is that a retaliation, a reaction from the Detroit going like, this game's over, guys?
Right.
Like,
We don't have to
you could have
play our hearts
yards
out anymore.
Like we got you.
It's in the bag, Tay.
Yeah. So it was.
It's in the bag.
It was. First half, Packers couldn't do anything. Offense couldn't do anything. So, wow. So I'm still asking myself, like, how is that? How did that happen? How is it possible? So, with all this time off between all these games, I think this kind of is their point where they can change things, change the momentum, figure out what they're doing wrong, and correct some of the stuff. But Matt LaFleur comes out and says, "Well, yeah, everything's on the table. We're looking at everything. We got to start over," kind of thing. It's like, well, what? Like, okay. But it just seemed to me like all of a sudden, can Jordan Love be looking all over the field, having three pretty good weeks in a row where he can he's going through his progressions, and you can see him doing that, and he picks the right guy. This time you go back and watch the game, and you're like, throw the ball to that guy. Like, why are you taking a sack? Why are you holding the ball so long? Like, why?
He was taught by the best at that.
Now, yeah, all of a sudden, it's like
Aaron Rodgers burn.
Yeah, his 15 years all of a sudden accelerated to last week's game. Like, what? Now you're holding the ball on too long, and you trying to make something happen? It's like, no. Just take the ball, and pass it right away. Get it out of your hands. Just get rid of it. But, so that's what boggles my mind. It's like you go for these first 3 games, and you're like, yeah, Jordan's doing what we want him to do. He's actually making good calls, and all of a sudden, you're like, why would you do that? Why aren't you throwing the ball to this open receiver? Why are you holding the ball too long? And, and there's a lot of other blame to go around with the offensive line. Looked atrocious. You can't establish run. You're not using, you're not using Aaron Jones. Like, what's the deal with that?
He's a decoy. They never plan on playing him.
So why even?
He got 5 rushing touches today.
So why? Like, why was that part of the game plan? Like, let's put a decoy out with Aaron
it's
Jones.
Stupid.
It's like whatever.
And they're always like, oh, we gotta, make sure, it's coming back, and it's a decoy, but he's got to be on his pitch count because Aaron's really important late in the season. But yeah, you're not gonna have a late season if you don't play the goddamn guy. Doesn't matter. Play him.
And everyone knows that the key to a lot of wins with this team is, handing the ball off to Aaron Jones. So just do it, make it happen. What are you saving yourself for? There's no point to that.
So you can be like, 4 and 12, and you got, one more game to go, and you don't have enough tread on Aaron's tire. Like, get out of town, run the man.
I guess you can pick a lot of stats right now to either say the Packers are good. Here, look at this. They're good right here. And then you can take a stat.
Are they? Where's that?
Well, we'll get to that in a minute. But
okay.
you can go find those stats and say, well, see Packers on third down they can convert and stuff. And here's some averages. Then you can look at the defense. I'm sorry. And you can look at stats to say they stink, right? And honestly, when you look at this team, they're 2-2. That says it right there. It's pretty self-evident. They're average. They're mediocre, and they're currently trending down. But they're just right in the middle. You look at all the stat lines, and they're right in the middle. So that's what this team is. So am I surprised about that? No, but when you take a game like the Lions game and you just get basically outmatched and outplayed, you run out of gas, you make mistakes, you can't even put your guys in the correct positions to do anything. Like there was no offensive production in the first half. It was just
there literally wasn't.
How is that possible? How is that possible? So either Matt LaFleur, you got to stick to that plan. We got a game plan. We got to stick to that. And we drew this up. No, it should be fine. You don't change that. Or you're telling your quarterback in the second series, hey, let's change things up here. Like, it's not going well. Let's try to get the ball out quick. They're getting to us. This offensive line isn't doing great right now. So let's make some changes here.
I don't know. Then bring in a Sean Ryan, throw him in somebody's spot because you got him. And a lot of those guys like Royce Newman, god awful.
Yeah,
throw in Sean Ryan. Royce, you suck ass. This guy can't really be any worse. He's going in. That's something you can do.
Yeah. And that goes back to the conservative nature of the Packers, and then Matt LaFleur has that curse and that disease, that conservativeness disease. He doesn't want to make changes like that. And we're not going to see a change at the defensive coordinator right now. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. And what does it take? What do you think it takes for that to happen? Is it just simply a bad run defense, which they have right now? But or is it more than that?
Because I think that's where it begins and ends at this point. Let's go back to the whole where are football games won and lost to?
In the trenches.
In the trenches. And that is what? What's the trench?
Well, that's the O-line and the D-line.
You got it. And the Packers had how many yards rushing in said football game, Tay. They had 27, Tay. I'm not that's
Yeah.
it's 27. And Detroit had 211. So physical versus
No.
cream puff.
Green Puff? Did you say Green Puff?
It
Is that what their name? They're the Green Puffs.
Because that tells you the whole story right there.
So you're buying into this softness. You're buying into this.
Yeah,
like,
I think.
But why didn't you say that up until this game? Like, did you not think that or not see that or what? Why now?
We heard.
Why
we
now?
heard all season coming to this. Oh my God! All the depth in the O line. Injuries start sprinkling in. Start getting worse. Then suddenly you see, oh, but the depth we have and what we truly have here are a bunch of pass blocking, offensive linemen. You don't have run stuffers that'll, again, go just knock somebody on their ass. You don't have that. And then we go, oh, look at all this great D-line depth. You have smaller build guys that aren't just a giant guy in the middle who's move me off my spot. I'm right here. Run the A and B gap right at me. Good. Do it. Run that A-B gap running back at me. Nobody's getting through because I'm right here. It's just they have smaller bodied guys that just aren't suited for it. So maybe they are, like other guys have talked about, picking guys that, they love the athletic trait, right? As many will talk about, but they don't have, you listen to so many people and I hear all these voices in my head after that game and you start thinking about it and you're like, man, a lot of those warts show up and you could see it. You're like, light bulb, that's not so good. And then some of it's just, point out the obvious. 27 versus 211. It literally tells you, it's the full narrative of what's going on here. We're going to talk about the Raiders in a bit, Tay. They can't stop the run. They can't run the football. They can't do either.
No.
Okay? But if suddenly this Monday night, the Green Bay Packers give up 150, 180, 200 yards rushing, yeah, people should be calling for Joe's ass because the Raiders are not good at all. Okay? They're worse than the Packers are in all those metrics. That's how bad they are. So yeah, Joe Barry, sleepy Joe Barry, sleep at the wheel up in the box.
Eating his Green Puffs.
That dude should not get a pass if they get run all over by the Raiders, who have been awful.
It's true. It's true. I think that, it's good to identify some points here because it's easy to go, after the fact, after something happens, you're like, well, get the pitchforks out. But when you can see okay, here's evidence that if this happens to the defense again in this certain way against that opponent, yeah, you have a major issue. I don't know. Is the question is for me is Joe Barry putting his guys in the right situation, or do we have a type of guy problem on the defensive line?
I think it's a little bit of both.
Because they're putting Clark outside more. Should he be back in the middle? I don't know. Should they rotate more guys in and out? Did they rely on the linebackers to take care of some of this stuff? Is Quay out of position sometimes? Is that why he's getting all the tackles?
Quay does tackle, but heard a lot of people talking about it after that game.
Yeah.
He misses his gap assignments at times. Mm-hmm. He's in the wrong place. And you can't do that.
And your linebackers are getting all the tackles. That's not necessarily a good thing. Good stat to have, and it's well, they're getting through the line. Obviously, with 200 plus yards rushing, they're getting past the defensive line.
Yeah, and so David Montgomery is a between the tackles guy, and they're bringing it to him, man.
Yeah,
they just said we're gonna, Dan Campbell style, we're gonna run right at you. Stop it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the Packers' answer was, we can't.
Yeah, no. So it was a bit of a letdown. There were so many issues there. So I don't know. With with a lot of time between this next game and with the opponent coming up with the Raiders, the Raiders are pretty bad.
They are.
And this is your opportunity to say to silence the doubters, at least like for now, or to be like, okay, the Packers aren't that bad, right? Like,
it's like to say we're way better than that crappy team,
right?
We might not be like, we're not the Niners yet, but we're way better than that dumpster fire. We're not that kind of dumpster fire, right?
I mean, when you point, when we came out of the Bears game going, wow, holy crap, the Packers, yeah, look at us.
Yeah, 38-20?
Now you look back.
Oh,
you look
what?
back now and you're like, oh, shoot. Okay, well, we can't.
It was
actually,
the Bears.
We can't count that game.
It was the Bears who were up like, 21 against the Broncos last weekend and somehow found a way to lose?
And I think that's who the Raiders also beat. Their one win is against the Broncos.
I think it was week 1 against Denver.
So anyway, it is prove it this week.
Especially mini bye and like the longer mini bye.
Mm-hmm.
You go all the way to Monday night and then you get a bye after that. So you play essentially one football game in 3 weeks. I mean, you better come out and if they don't beat them by double digits today, I'm gonna be disappointed. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah,
and I think everybody should be.
And injuries are, you never want to hang your hat on them and say that's the reason that stuff's happening, bad things are happening. But it definitely for this team right now is exposing some issues, major issues. I mean, with the offensive line, like you kind of mentioned, we thought that was a good starting five, and then we had
not good, but like top 5 NFL starting lines in the entire league, dude.
And then
top 5.
And then underneath that, you had a couple really good replacements. All of a sudden, when you take just one of those good replacements that you have, and
now you're shifting everything around.
And you're shifting everything around, and then maybe that one player that would come in and would play well with the other great 4, right? But now all of a sudden you're like, okay, we got Rasheed Walker over here on the left, and
he was bad too.
And like, oh crap, like Runyon next to him.
Rasheed on the left, like he can't get his feet back, and like he's just getting rolled right into Jordan.
And
God.
So the offensive line was bad, and now you're in a spot where you have to make it work. Like, what are you gonna do? You can try some things. You don't have that many people on your roster that can just fix this. So I don't know what they're gonna do there. But you got a game plan around that. If you're MLF, you got to do some short passes, do some different things. Don't be pulling guards when guards shouldn't be pulling.
Let's run AJ Dillon up the B gap.
But
for 2.3 yards.
Well, at least, and you saw it. I think Matt LaFleur identified it too and pointed it out that like they first and second down they struggled and they can't get anything, and then you're stuck again on third down. We went through that,
and then they're gonna tee off on you, dude.
Yeah,
and you know what they did? They're like, we're sending the house at you.
Yeah, good luck.
Enjoy, Jordan. Welcome to the NFL.
So it was almost like we're almost enemy. When you can't figure out first and second down, it's over. It's against a team like that when you're down, and it's like the defense gave up 27 points in the first half. Really, like, and then the offense struggles. It's just a recipe for disaster, and we saw it unfold. So, boy, so injuries,
boy,
right?
Indeed.
We don't get an injury report today because today's
it's a Wednesday, but it's a Tuesday today. Yeah.
So we didn't get anything. Although there were some good things that came out just on social media with some of the players were back practicing. So Elton was practicing, and he says he might be able to play Monday. Then you got
Eric Stokes.
You got Eric Stokes
back on the
being
practice
cleared
field. So
to practice.
I think he's in his 21-day window. I believe it is today.
He's not playing.
I don't think they're going to play him.
He's not playing Monday night. He's not playing. Maybe he'll come back after the bye. Who knows? But he's going to be playing. And I think obviously since we recorded the last, David Bakhtiari went on IR officially.
We did not talk about David. I was saying he was going to play. I really thought so, and then then we learned.
Psych.
Then we learn. I think the next day we recorded, we learned he had a scope surgery that day we talked.
Yeah. Yep.
And that apparently, according to Ian reported that he's got another one on the schedule in a few weeks. Another procedure, Tay.
Yeah. That's right.
I mean, you just brought us there. Have we seen David Bakhtiari in a Packer uniform the last time?
He's gone. He's gone. I mean, he's not going to play. Obviously, he's not playing this year. He's got.
Nope.
Even if he went on IR without the surgeries, I doubt we'd see him back. But now he's having 2 surgeries. He's got major issues with that knee. We're not seeing him back, and it's unfortunate. Like, he played well for us, and when he was playing this year, he was good. Do we need a guy like him on the team? Yes, but it's too late. That ship is now sailed, especially with him being on IR. It's the last game we've seen of David.
There's no reason you would not cut a guy when you save. I think they would save $21 million against the cap at the end of the season once you get into that 24 piece, and you take a $19 million dead cap. You come out the better side of it. And why would you pay a guy that kind of money to not ever know what you're going to get?
Mm-hmm.
You can't pay a guy like that kind of money anymore. Like, to know, is it going to work out for 6, 8, 10, 12 games a year? Or is it going to work out for whatever you get? And what it is David's a, Hall of Fame pass blocking left tackle. Like, Hall of Fame. Is he a great run blocker? Was he ever? But pass blocker, you can put him on the left side for any quarterback in the NFL, and they'll be like, if he's available, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm good. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate for the Packers. It's unfortunate for him, but it's done. Yeah. It's over.
Like, we can't. No one's going to trade for this guy at all.
He has no value.
His value went to 0 when he went on IR, I think.
Yeah. And then had one procedure and is going to have another one.
Yeah.
Who's going to be like, I want to take a risk on that.
Now, do you think, you probably won't know the answer to this, but I'll ask it. Like, if they get it he's on IR, that a lot of times teams give injury settlements and then they're cut. I wonder if that can happen or what that means at all. Because they talk about, cutting him straight away or whatever. But now that he's on IR, I don't know how that works.
No, I mean, if you released him outright right now, again, you're taking a cap hit bigger than you would until you get through the year. But no, he's Packers are paying him. He's on IR, and that's it. Just
does he have one more year left? I think he does.
Yeah, next year, and I think a year after that. I want to say it is. Now, had he been good enough to play this year and then next, and he was healthy, they might have considered it for what it is, for what he can bring to the table. Because then after that, I mean, the last year I think it was nothing. So, but no, I mean, there's no value left there.
No,
none.
No. It's too bad, but
it is.
I think Devondre Campbell didn't practice today. We'll see about tomorrow. We'll see when the injury report comes out tomorrow. But a lot of people were playing that. I think
Elton's huge.
Yes,
big time, because they gotta figure out that line. And I heard people talk about it today. Yeah, take Royce out, throw Sean Ryan in there. It cannot be worse. It can't.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy grades out so poorly. That being Royce Newman, like, why? I mean, we all wondered if he'd make the final roster.
Yeah.
He's just a body. I think you could go grab a guy off of some practice squad somewhere that is a better option than Royce Newman at this point. Anywhere. You could scour that stuff, and I'm sure the Packers scouting department knows that there's a better O-lineman sitting on somebody's practice squad. It's just, stop doing it. Matt, insanity boy. Like, stop it.
Aaron Jones also was practicing, so that's a good sign.
So, instead of 5, he get 10 carries this week, 10?
Yeah.
Maybe
double.
10?
Let's double it. Let's double the pitch count.
Yeah.
Which,
should I start him in my fantasy league?
Absolutely. Wait, you're not playing me, so
Absolutely.
You do whatever you want.
You want to hear my Matt LaFleur? Absolutely 100%.
Absolutely 100%. Speaking of pitch count, and if y'all out there are noticing how salty Ren is right now, he just witnessed another disappointing loss. Did they lose already?
No, they're down
Okay.
5-2.
Okay, so what's happening right now as we record this, which after you'll be hearing this when the results have already happened, but the Brewers are down. Is this Is this the baseball playoffs, Ren?
Yeah, Tay. It's if they don't win tonight, they're eliminated from said playoffs. So yeah.
So they're in the playoffs. They are doing a 3.
They were for all of 2 games, and they're at home too.
Yeah,
and they can't win at home.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Ren's a little salty because the Brew Crew is going to be dumping their beer on the curb a little bit, and the Packers
more like getting curb stomped. But it is what it is, Tay. So let's talk about these soft, mediocre Packers while we're at it.
Yeah, soft. Well, let's talk about them going out to Las Vegas a little bit.
The Packers' first trip out to Las Vegas, Allegiant Stadium, Tay.
Yeah, Monday night.
Going to be a lot of Packer fans traveling out there because Vegas is a vacation destination. Yes.
Will there be as many Packer fans in the stadium as there were Detroit fans?
That was
Thursday Night Football.
That was it's not been a lot of times you've seen teams take over Lambeau quite like the Lions did. Back when I think Favre first was a Viking, that one was pretty big. There's a lot of purple. It was pretty gross.
Yeah.
But that Honolulu blue was out there bright and up front, man. They bought up those Milwaukee tickets and they were there in force, Tay.
Yeah, so the Raiders. They get their home game. The Packers are going out there on Monday night. They have tons of time to figure this out. They have tons of time to look at the Raiders and say, well, maybe they're not as bad as the Bears, but they could be. They don't have a quarterback.
I'll give you some stuff here in a minute that they're pretty shitty.
Whoa. Come on now. You're all salty, and now I have to mark that.
You don't have to mark the tape, Tay.
So, when you look at the Raiders, they're like Aaron Rodgers used to say, piss poor. 1-3. They're the bottom of their division, and basically they stink. All their stats are terrible. The Packers' stats are they're in the middle, but the Raiders' stats are pretty bad. They can't, like you said before, they can't run the ball. They can't stop the ball. So, but there's only two.
They're near the bottom in what? You've got it up there. Tell me.
Well, they're near the bottom.
Points scored, total yards.
Yeah.
Rushing yards. They're literally last. And time of possession. They're literally at or near the bottom in all 4 of those categories.
Yeah.
It's incredible, Tay. There's one reason why they're middle of the pack passing yards per game.
Oh yeah.
And it's a 1-7 reason.
Yeah. And
that's called Tay Adams, because he averages 99 yards. Our old friend Tay Adams,
he's awesome.
A game. And honestly, what a credit to him, given how absolutely terrible the Las Vegas Raiders are.
Yep.
That just, makes his case even then some,
Oh yeah.
Good on him.
And he's still doing it.
He's got trash throwing him the football, Tay.
Aiden O'Connell.
Or Jimmy G. Doesn't matter who's throwing it to.
Well, Jimmy G has done a whole lot. He's been out with a concussion. If there's one thing to point out to Sleepy Joe, wake him up. Joe, there's 2 things to worry about. Right? You have to watch DA, right? DA. That's all you gotta do. Just cover him. Put 2 guys on him the whole game.
No, I just trailed Jair on him.
And
Jair. Jair used to trail him in practice all the time. He knows him. So go do it, Jair. We know Jair doesn't like to tackle.
Yeah.
It's kind of not his strong suit. He's afraid of tackling in the open field.
Mm-hmm.
But because he's, really good, he can run with guys and stuff. He's good at that, but he's a little soft maybe. But
I think 17 is the only guy you have to worry about. There's no other threat out there, so you can take care of business this week.
Well,
you've got to.
Josh Jacobs did lead the NFL in rushing last year, Tay. Now, granted, the Raiders' rushing game not good this year. I mean, he had 17 for 58 last week, but he also 8 for 81 receiving. So, dude put up 130 yards, all-purpose yards last week. So, if he can look like his old self from last year, he's playing the right rush defense today.
Yeah. He wants to shine. Line up against the pack.
That's a good way to feel get right. It's a good get right, feel good about yourself game, because the Packer run blocking and run game ranks near the bottom too in just nearly everything. And like I said, the Raiders pretty much, they're like, hey, we're kind of the same. We're like twins.
Yeah.
We're really both crappy at both these things. How about us? Who's gonna be better at this on Monday? Like, who's gonna feel better about themselves? Well, I hope it's the Packers, Tay.
I guess that's why this is kind of there's you could look at it from the point of view of this is kind of fun. Like, what are we gonna get? Like the Packers without Aaron Rodgers. We're in this new era. What can happen? We've been up and down this year already, 2-2. What's gonna come of this? And so I don't know. It is interesting. I think Matt really only has to worry about one thing on the when the offense is out there. And that's Mr. Max Crosby. Like
that is literally on defense, Tay. That's the only bright spot.
He's it.
But he is tied for first in the NFL, Tay, with 27 pressures on the season.
Yeah.
My man is a stud.
Yeah. He's your man?
But my man for the Raiders. But
yeah.
But you got Tay on offense, Crosby on defense, and outside of that, the Raiders really have nada.
It's weak. What would you say if we were the Raiders podcast talking about the Green Bay Packers? Who's on each side of the ball that you totally have to worry about? I mean, Devontae and Max are having all pro seasons, but if we were the Raiders talking about the Packers, who would we say? Jair?
No.
Rashawn?
Oh, Gary, yeah. Based on his pressures per snaps played this year, Tay, like it's out of this world.
So it's like we gotta watch this guy.
Rashawn might be the only asshole on defense. He might.
No, he's a nice guy.
No, he ain't. That man.
Maybe in the field he's brutal, but I don't know.
Nah, he's not a nice guy.
He's just quiet. Don't worry about him.
Yeah, he's a quiet, scary guy. Trust me. But outside of him, who else is a scary guy on defense?
Offense. Who do you got? Maybe Aaron Jones.
When healthy, like Aaron Jones is a stud. Yeah, but Devontae Adams level of stud?
No,
I don't think
we
so.
don't have it.
No.
I mean, if I'm the Raiders, I'm saying, well, you should neutralize 87. Like he clearly is their number one. Even with Watson back, it's like you got to shut him down if you want to nix the passing game.
I think at this point you look at Jimmy G or Jordan Love, and I mean, I guess Aiden might play, but I mean, Jordan's a pretty big step up from either one of those guys.
I right now I think Jimmy's out. I think
he's still in concussion protocol, but a lot of time to get right by Monday night. Jimmy G,
tighten those screws.
Jimmy G missing last Sunday, still leader in the NFL in interceptions.
6.
My guy will throw it up to you.
That's awesome. That's good.
And I think Aiden had a couple turnovers on Sunday against the Chargers. So obviously he's a rookie, so he's not ready for prime time. So a lot of opportunity to take advantage there. The Raider DT, we talked about Max Crosby, right? Studley.
Mm-hmm. Max Studley.
he's good, Tay. Defense is allowed to score on 45% of drives against them all season, Tay. Essentially, 1 out of every 2 drives that the defense is on the field, they allow points. That's real bad, Tay. They have trailed by 16 or more in 3 straight losses, giving up 7 sacks in their most recent loss to the Chargers.
Yeah, jeez.
Ugh.
Isn't that nuts?
Disgusting. Obviously, losers of 3 straight after beating Denver, who anybody could, in their sleep, week 1. So they get to play them one more time this year, so they might have 2 wins on the season. What else about these Raiders, Tay? Let's see if there's anything else interesting to even talk about them, because they are so boring and bad.
It's kind of funny.
Tay, they have not scored a TD in the second and third quarters all season.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, the Raiders owed Tay gives the ball up on 25% of their drives. 1 out of 4 drives results in a turnover.
I love that. I love that stat.
Brutal. Oh, God. Just terrible. So again, Tay, if GBvsDET can't get it right Monday against this team, they're not likely to get it right against anybody else either. It's that simple. This is just go run your offense at Jordan. Take what the offensive gives you. He was missing a lot of short stuff. They weren't taking the short stuff against the Lions either. Like, just take it.
Right. Yeah.
Just what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like you said, hold on to it. Like, too long. What are you doing? Stop it. Like, the one only thing I'll take away from Thursday night's loss that was any bit of a positive was Jordan didn't give up. He presses to play and somehow try to get his team into it. Do I think they were ever really in it? I don't. But he doesn't back down from the ability to try to win and want to rally his guys.
It's true. I think the difference is right now. Did you almost spill your LaCroix?
I did not, Tay.
LaCroix. I think the difference is some of the difference between like the Packers and the Raiders and the Bears is the locker room, I think, is intact here. Like, there's no, divisions in the locker room, getting angry and outspoken about, the coaching staff or the GM or all this stuff. Like, you don't have that stuff in the locker room right now. You have that stuff in the Raiders locker room. You have that stuff in the Bears locker room. So right now, there's no like fires to put out, with your personnel. So that's a positive. And I don't think, I guess a loss to the Lions like that can do that to your team. But I think overall this team is in a good spot still, regardless of that. Like, they're still willing to grow together. And I think, you even talked about it in the weeks past where this team doesn't know better. They're going to just keep fighting. They don't know how to lose. And so, yeah, you get, from our perspective, this Lions loss was awful. It was disgusting. But, they don't know that. They had a bad, we sucked that game. We're going to go out to Las Vegas and try to punch them in the mouth. So I think you have to kind of ground yourself with that sentiment and that mentality and say, these guys are young still. They're growing. This is what's happening. So, still enjoy the ride. There's a lot of maybe coaching issues that have to be and preparation and execution stuff that has to be worked out. But overall, we don't have like, players calling for the head coach to be fired. It's like nothing like on that level. So I think maybe we are okay. And we're in a good spot after one blowout loss.
I think, I think the two games of 200 yards plus allowed on the ground is not good, Tay. That kind of stuff has to, again, as Matt said, they can't continue to do the same thing, expect different results.
Right.
That said, I mean, we all knew that. And we talked about it so many times. Yeah, I mean, it is a young team. They are going to have a lot of growing pains, especially, and I give a lot of that to Jordan and the young skill position guys. They're all growing together. As far as some of these guys on the defense at this point, with all the draft capital they've spent there, we need to see a little bit better result. And I think a lot of it is guys not being coached up properly and being put in the right position. And that falls on a couple shoulders. Falls on Matt LaFleur's shoulders for continuing the experiment that he should not have continued. And it falls on the guys doing it. Because clearly there are ways, when you have good coordinators, Tay, they're taking something, seeing it, and saying, here's where we're missing and here's how we're going to fix it. There's none of that happening. They just seem to say, we can just scheme this up another way and these guys are going to get it. Clearly, they don't have the mindset of coaches in those defensive rooms. They just don't. That's what Jerry Gray said. I'm getting the F out of town, Tay. I'm going to go do this where I can do that. Mm-hmm. The offense, I definitely will forgive a lot of the growing pains with the young guys, with Jordan, because they're all growing together. They're not running crisp routes at times. Mm-hmm. It's a work in progress.
It's unpolished.
But on the D, there's not as much forgiveness.
There's more accountability to be
like
had there.
TJ Slayton, play better, but also be coached better. You've been there long enough. D. Wyatt, you're in your second year. Like, time. Like, let's take a leap. Kenny, we know what you are, but, as far as there's just too many guys there that they know what to do. And sure, there's a weak safety room, but, they're just not coached well and they're not schemed well. And it's stupid that we're even having to talk about, why is Joe Barry still there? Because he shouldn't have been. And that's, and shame on Matt LaFleur for that.
Yep.
He's holding his team back because he didn't choose to, bite the bullet when he needed to. Be done.
When I look at our tally, our own, yours and mine, on the win-loss record that we predicted, we did both predict that they were going to lose last week. We drank the Kool-Aid a little too much, I think, on the podcast beforehand, and we said that they were going to win.
Yeah, why do we do that?
I don't know why we do that. We do that every. I think last year I said they were going to win every game.
Jeez, wow.
So when I look at that now, I have them losing in Las Vegas, and you have them winning in Las Vegas. So we're 50-50. So let's.
What is the point spread, Tay?
The point spread, I already cheated. I looked.
Oh, come on. But why are the Raiders even getting one?
They're getting one.
Tell me why.
Because because of the Lions game. Because of the Lions
probably.
Game. So I have them losing, but I honestly can't see it right now with all the things that are happening. I'm gonna go 22. I'm gonna go 28-25.
I'm going to go 24-12 pack, Tay.
12.
24-12.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Good. And I hope that's true. But you had the win. I had the loss on the official record. I'm pulling out the Packers win again. I'm going to be stupid.
This team averages less than 16 points a game. It's like 15.3 points the Raiders average.
I know.
It's terrible, dude.
Yep.
Before we get out of here, Tay, got to get a big shout out here, Tay, to John Gordon, who passed away. Rest in peace, John. John Gordon, if you don't know the name, and a lot of people out in Packer universe go, who is this guy associated with Packers? Well, he was an artist, a young student that designed the Green Bay Packers' distinctive G team logo. Just died at the age of 83. He was an art student at St. Norbert, and in 1961 was working as an assistant for Packers equipment manager Gerald "Dad" Brasher when he was offered the chance to design the team's logo under then coach Vince Lombardi, who wanted a G in the shape of a football. And the iconic G logo was born and also offered at one point when asked by the Georgia Bulldogs to also use the same logo. Yeah. So he is responsible for that logo you see on Packer helmets and Georgia Bulldog helmets. So definite huge. When we talk about Packer universe stuff, Tay, that is stuff people need to know. Shout out, rest in peace, to John Gordon, the iconic designer of the Packers G.
His last name's Gordon. Starts with G. So maybe it was great.
Always.
He was great.
Great and carrying that G, Tay, for sure.
Thanks, John. You always you see that G on the helmet, and then you always kind of wonder, and then you see Georgia Bulldogs with their G, and you're like, wait, who comes first? It always comes up. Everyone talks about it. Everyone asks.
It was allowed by the Green Bay Packers. They allowed Georgia to use that logo.
We've got quite a few Georgia Bulldogs on the team now.
I do.
So,
yeah.
Well, Ren, I don't have anything else to talk about. It's just this is a prove it game, I think, for not necessarily like are they for real, but like can they bounce back from a terrible loss? Can they kind of like align their ducks a little bit, put them in a row, get over these hurdles here that you're making yourself, you're putting in front of yourself. Like it almost feels like it's and that's why we're so upset about this. It's not like they went head to head with the Lions. They lost by 1 point or 3 points. We'd be talking totally different now, but they just kind of got blown out, and you're just why? So that's why we're upset. And I think
they got curb stomped, Tay.
And that's why
beat out.
This is why this game coming up is important. It's kind of like, okay, guys, like you're not that bad.
And now you've had the super mini bye, and then you get a bye after. So you should be rested up, and you should come to play knowing, hey, let's go leave it out on the field. We got 2 weeks off of our bodies after this. Let's go take it to this football team across from us. I don't care who the other football team is. It wouldn't matter. Like, go take it to them. Play your best. Come with fire. And then go get a little time off.
When you do look at this, too, it's ripe for the Packers to bounce back from. So, yeah, we're maybe jinxing it right now, but you've got an opportunity here with the Raiders.
What am I jinxing, Tay? They've had too much time off. There's no jinx.
I'm saying
they better go kick their ass.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, they have this opportunity here with the Raiders. They have a week off. Then they go out to Denver. And that is also a bad football team.
But you can't look ahead, Tay.
You can't look ahead. But I'm just saying, that's why I'm not trying to jinx them here. I'm like, they got 2 soft games. Soft, that's the key word tonight. We should have been screaming and celebrating every time the word soft came up tonight. But that's a soft schedule the next 3 weeks.
I think you got Pittsburgh not shortly, a little while after that as well.
Yeah,
they don't look so great, Tay.
Minnesota and the Rams before Pittsburgh.
So
yeah.
There's some winnable football games in there. But
all right.
Also, we don't know if there's some losable football games in there at this point. So
the Lions were a good team. We knew that. They were the best opponent probably they were going to tackle yet this year. So, and they proved it right.
Oh, I mean, the Lions are definitely, I would say, in that top 3 in the NFC for sure. Tay, they're a physical football team. I think they can hang with the Eagles. I don't know, the Niners might be in another level, but I think the Lions can hang.
Well, we appreciate everyone for listening. Thanks for your support. We will be back. Hopefully the Raiders lose and the Packers win. Ren, thanks for coming in the studio and being a little salty tonight with your Packers loss, and now you're most likely a Brewers loss.
Yeah, thanks for
sorry.
Yeah, Tay, on that lovely note, until episode 243 on the pup list.